Good morning and welcome to class. Brooklyn Peterson loves pigs. And trigonometry. Pigs and trig. Okay, here we go. Worksheet number 2. Worksheet number 2. Using trig to find a side. Now, this is fun. Almost much more fun than the first worksheet. Okay, now look at number 1. Number 1, I'm going to draw it a little bit bigger. Number 1, they give you a triangle that's got a 90. And they tell you that it's 17 tall. And they tell you that this is 74 degrees. And they want you to find the missing side. They want you to find X. Now, here's what we know. Every triangle has 180 degrees. So if I'm using 90 right here, these two acute angles have to be 90 also, because 90 and 90 is 180. So if this guy's 74, this guy's got to be, what? 16? Now, and if we find this side, then you could do Pythagorean's theorem and find the base. But that's what we're getting to. So here we go. They want you to find the hypotenuse. Now, first thing you've got to do is mark up your triangle. So go across from the 90. This is your hypotenuse. Now let's just mark it from the 74. Let's mark it from what they gave us. This was extra work. I didn't really need to do that. But you got to remember there's 180 in a triangle. Now, if I go from 74, I go across, and this is the opposite. That means this is the adjacent. Now, you've got to figure out which of the three trig ratios you're going to use. We're going to go so, we're going to go ka, or we're going to go toa. Why are you digging ka? Bundy? Because you've got 17, which is the A, and you need to find X, which is the H. The O, they don't give us anything about O. We don't know anything about O. That uses O, and that uses O. So use the two sides that they give you. Now, so the trig is recognizing which of the three ratios you're going to use. So we're going to use cosine. Now, type in cosine. Alright, let's write down cosine. But you got to tell me where you're going from. This time you know how much the angle is. It is 74 degrees. And the cosine of 74 degrees, the ratio is going to be the A, which is 17, over the H, which is X. Okay, now check this out. Cosine is 74 degrees. If I make this triangle, let's make this a 74 degree angle. So let me reset things. If I open this up to 74, get as close as I can to 74. Okay, 74. Now the size of the triangle doesn't matter. But if I do cosine, it's not going to be very much. If I hit cosine, it's going to compare the adjacent to the hypotenuse, which is not even half. So that's like 27%, 25%. And if I make the triangle larger, still the same thing. If I do cosine, because I increased both those sides at a proportion rate, it's still going to be 27.5, no matter what size the triangle is. So, your calculator already knows that this is, so if I punch in cosine of 74, now this time you're not doing the inverse, you're going forward, you're not going backwards. So I'm going to hit cosine of 74, and that's going to give me 27.56%. So 0.2756. So now I know this is a number. This is 0.2756. And that is equal to 17 over X. Now at this point the trig is done. From here on out is algebra. We are 100% done with the trig, and now it's algebra. So here's algebra. Now let's do some mental math. If I tell you 15 divided by some number x will result in a 3, what do you know x has to be? From mental math, you know that x has to be 5, and that's true. If you plug in 5, 15 divided by 5 is 3. Now, how did you get 5? Brooklyn, how are we going to get 5 if we don't know our mental math? 15 divided by 5 is 3. How are we going to get it, Cord? Yeah, because it is 5 because 15 divided by 3 equals x. So Jameson, here's the algebra. If you have x on the bottom, you are going to switch these two places. You put the 3 here and you put the x here, and it will give you the 5. You good with that? So look what I got. I've got the x on bottom, and no one knows the mental math of this. 17 divided by what number is going to give you 0.27? No one knows that. So you are going to switch these two places. We're going to go x equals 17 divided by 0.2756. So on your calculator, you punch in 17 divided by, and I'm just going to go up arrow and grab that and hit enter. 61, and they want us to round it to, what do they want us to round it to? Okay, you've got to round it to the nearest tenth. So you need to go 1 decimal place. So we got to go 61.6, and after the 6 is a 7. That 7 is going to push it up to a 7. So this side is x equals 61.7 inches or centimeters or whatever it is. That's how long the hypotenuse is. The hypotenuse is pretty long. So your work, this is what I got to see. I definitely got to see what trig you're using. And then once you get it set up, it's all algebra. So let's look at number 2. Let's do 2 together. Okay, 2. They give you the 90. Mark it up. Go across from the 90. That's the hypotenuse. Let's use the angle 40. If we use 40, go across from the 40. That's the opposite. And this one's the adjacent. Okay, now, you need to use the two sides that are given. Let's use the 15 and let's use the x. So we've got to use the trig that uses O and A. Which trig uses opposite and adjacent? It's got to be tangent. Alright, so here we go. Your trig is tangent from the 40 degrees. And tangent from that 40 degrees is going to equal O over A. And then all you really do is just, if x is on the bottom, you switch these two places. So it's going to be x equals 15 divided by the tangent of 40. And that's all calculator. But now, there are going to be some where x is on the top. Let's look at some where x are on the top. What do you do if you got this? So if you have like x divided by 10 and your answer is 3. Let's mental math this. What number divided by 10 is going to give you 3? What number divided by 10 is going to give you a 3? 30. X is 30. Now, Mariah, how did you get 30? How did you know it's 30? Because you times 10 by 3. So if x is on top, that's actually pretty easy. You need to inverse the divide 10. So you just times this by 10, you times this by 10. So when x is on top, all you do is undo the divide, times both sides by that, and that's what you get. So number 1 and number 2, though, both of these x's were on bottom. When x is on bottom, all you do is trade places. That concludes video number 2. Thank you for watching, and get your worksheet done. Coming up next, video number 3.